Hi everyone, this is Jeanette Shaliga, and this is just a quick video on how to submit to the shared Centimorgan project. In genetic genealogy, a centimorgan is a unit of recombinant frequency which is used to measure genetic distance. In common terms, a centimorgan is a measure of DNA that you share with someone else. So for example, here's the shared DNA that I have with my grandfather on Ancestry. And you can see that it says right under that they're assuming our relationship is a close family to first cousin. And our shared DNA is 1,525 centimorgans across 25 segments. So here is what the shared centimorgan project looks like. And at the top it shows how to read this chart. So it shows the relationship to yourself, so that this would be an aunt or uncle to yourself, that the average amount of shared centimorgans is 1,741, but due to submissions from people, they have seen a range of shared centimorgans between an aunt, uncle, and yourself from 1,201 centimorgans to 2,282 thousand centimorgans. So the ranges of shared centimorgans were all submitted by people who had had their DNA tested and they know how they are related to their DNA match. For example, I know how I'm related to my grandfather. We both tested at Ancestry and it shows that we share 1,525 centimorgans, and that falls comfortably within the range shown on the shared centimorgan chart, although it is a little below the average. On a side note, if you're not sure of the relationship between you and a DNA match, you can use the interactive shared Centimorgan project tool at the DNA Painter website. What you would do is you would type in the amount of shared centimorgans between you and a DNA match, and it will show you the percentages of probable relationships. So in this case, 126 centimorgans say that it is a 47.56% probability that the DNA match is either a half second cousin, a second cousin once removed, a half first cousin twice removed, or a first cousin 3 times removed. There is also a 25.60% chance that the DNA match could be a half first cousin 3 times removed, a third cousin, a half second cousin once removed, or a second cousin twice removed. If you scroll down below that chart I just showed you, it will also show you the shared centimorgan chart showing the possible relationships and graying out the ones where, in this case, 126 centimorgans does not fall within those relationships. Recently, I was listening to a podcast called Extreme Genes, and Blaine Bettinger was interviewed. And he was talking about his shared centimorgan project. And when he first released it, they had 5,000 submissions of DNA where people knew their relationship and they shared the amount of centimorgans. Then their second release of the shared centimorgan project had 25,000 people submitted. And 25,000 people submitting their connections, their centimorgans. And as more submissions are added, it helps to solidify the averages and the ranges of centimorgans. Just this past month, in March 2020, he released his 4th version, and it had 60,000 people submitting their shared centimorgans with known relationships. And he mentioned that he would love to reach 100,000 submissions. Blaine Bettinger's website is thegeneticgenealogist.com, and when you go there, the home page looks like this, and you can click on the very first bullet point where it says Version 4 March 2020 Update to the Shared Centimorgan Project, and it will take you to this. And so there's a full PDF that you can download and read all about the project, and he'll break down how many submissions are for each relationships and lots of great details. But if you would like to add to it, this is where you would click to submit shared centimorgans that you know of with somebody in your tree. And right there he says he's always collecting data and he's hopeful that the next update will have 100,000 submissions. So when you click here, it just brings up a Google form. And so for this example, we're going to use that known relationship I have with my grandfather. And so the first question is known relationship. What is the relationship of the two individuals? And he gives some examples. And it says this can be greater than third cousins if you have confirmed the relationship. These are not assumed relationships. You should know that this known relationship. So I would put that this is my paternal grandfather in that field. If I scroll down a little bit, the next question is, what is the total amount of shared centimorgans that you have? And so I got it at the top of the screen where, my grandfather and I, we share 1,525 centimorgans. So I would put 1525 in that field. The next question is the longest block. It says, what is the longest block in centimorgans of DNA they share in common? This will not be available for Ancestry DNA data. And you can see there is no red asterisk after the longest block. So this is not a required field. And because this was an Ancestry DNA test, I'm going to leave that field blank. The next one is the number of shared segments. And if you again look at the top right after, it says shared DNA 1525 centimorgans across 25 segments. So I'm going to put 25 in that third field there. If I scroll down, the next questions are, is there any endogamy or known cousin marriages? In this case, there is not, so I would click no. He wants to know the source. Where did this come from? I would click on Ancestry DNA and then scroll down. Any notes? There's no, nothing that I feel I need to tell him that's special about this relationship. I put my email, you hit submit, and then you get a thank you. Your response has been recorded. And then you just did it. You just helped them reach their goal of having 100,000 submissions, and it's pretty easy to do. As a suggestion, I would keep a list somewhere of which known relationships that you've submitted so that you don't later on forget and resubmit the same ones again. And of course, you can keep a paper list, but if you want to do it right on Ancestry, there's a couple different ways I could suggest. Is you could take a note, put a note in there saying that you submitted to the Shared Centimorgan project, or you could even assign one of the group colored dots and call anyone that you give the yellow dot to in your shared DNA matches that they were submitted to the Shared Centimorgan project. So that's all. I hope you take the time to make some submissions to the Shared Centimorgan project and help them reach their goal of 100,000 submissions. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you.